Hello and welcome again to the video series we have running with Lee Benson, CEO of Able Engineering, Able Aerospace, and ETW, Execute to Win. Lee, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Great to be here.
You've been so successful, period. You've been successful with all the things that you've been involved with. You've told the story in our other videos, and again, congratulations on all of that. You've got a lot to give to your executive team, to the community, and to others who are working on being more successful with their business. So today's conversation will be focused in on tips and ideas and thoughts that you have for other people who are either thinking about exporting or are involved with exporting and are looking to be more successful, faster, and at a higher level. So one of the questions I have for you today would be, what have you learned over the years about exporting that serves you well now, and hopefully that'll get into a conversation about what others might be able to learn from that experience. So what have you learned so far?
Well, what I would say about that is the only way we're going to get business is by being the best value alternative for our customers. And thinking about it that way, and then adding another caveat to it, which is every single thing an organization does should be done to make it more successful. Everything else is a waste of time and resources. Putting those two things together, having a very solid company that can be that best value alternative, that's probably the most important thing that we've learned. In other words, we started out in the early years by saying, hey, we've got a great product, they're buying it here in the U.S., why wouldn't they buy it internationally? We go out there just assuming they're going to do it, and we trip and fall. It didn't work that way, at least not all the time. It works some of the time. So thinking about what it takes to be the best value alternative, especially around looking at what your competition is doing. They're getting that product or service handled in some way already. How is that being handled? What's going on? So that would be the number one thing. Be the best value alternative and make sure you've got a very solid, well-run business with an incredible foundation so you can grow internationally.
You keep coming back to really, I'd say, three core elements. One being customer centricity and really understanding who the customer is and how to give better value to them and continuing to give them that better value. Number two would be the competition. You've talked a lot about competition over these videos, and it's clear that you're evaluating who they are, perhaps what value they're creating, and how you can create better value. And then third is clearly systems. So what systems can you put in place that allow you to make sure that your team is focused on the right things and that you're continuously improving so that you then go back to beat the competition and ultimately create more value for customers. So congratulations on that overall system. It seems to work for you.
Yeah, it really does. And again, and this has been said 1,000 different ways, but only satisfied customers guarantee job security, not the company that you work for. And I remember in the early days, we weren't even on the radar from a competitive standpoint. Competitors wouldn't take us serious at all. We're out there, we're making inroads, little steps moving in that direction. We would go to conferences and no attention whatsoever. And now there's a lot of them talking about us. In fact, there's one large company, $1 billion company, that one product line, they were not able to compete with us. We pretty much took all of it away from them. And I heard recently that a senior leader at this organization, right before he was fired, his last 6 months assignment was to study how Able Engineering is beating them out there so they could figure out how to come back. He wasn't successful and it went away. The competition is incredibly important. To expect that the competitors are just sitting on their hands and not doing anything to be a better value alternative for their customers would be a mistake. So you have to stay ahead of them at all turns. So thinking about the competition is incredibly important.
Yeah, undoubtedly, over the years, you've made a mistake or two, or certainly things you'd like to get back. What have you noticed any of those over the years, and how have you moved on from those?
Yeah, but there have been a lot of small mistakes that we've made internationally in terms of assumptions that didn't pan out to be right, or approaches to bringing in business where we went to regions that certainly weren't as profitable or worthwhile as other regions had we just thought about it a little bit more. But what I would say is that the single biggest category of mistakes that we've ever made have been around people. And I could point to probably 4 or 5 individuals that cost the company well over $1 million each because I didn't move fast enough to replace them and their results. And it's kind of interesting, and I think a lot of people fall for a number of traps where you confuse efforts with results. Somebody's working really hard. Okay, we didn't get the result, but you worked hard. Okay, we'll let it go. You might even give them a bonus anyway. You might even score them high in their performance review. But another gigantic trap that we fall into is confusing enthusiasm for capability. And that was one of the hardest lessons that I had to learn. So I don't care how excited somebody is about telling you how they've got this thing and they're going to get the result. You wait and you look for the results, and that speaks for itself. It's not anything else. And so we all need to move faster. We've got just under 500 employees today. We're growing. We'll probably add at least 100 in the next year. And over my time here, we've gone through probably at least a couple thousand employees over the years. And I can only think of maybe 3 that intentionally tried to sabotage the business. Only 3. I mean, a very small amount. So having said that, I would say that virtually every employee wants to win. They want to do a great job. And our job as the leader of each organization or a leader within the organization is to make sure you have the field staffed with all the right players in the right positions to get the right results. And I've made mistakes where I waited years to get rid of people and make a change. It wasn't that they were a bad person. They just weren't right for that particular role. And now I'm down to 2 or 3 months we make the change, if not even sooner. In fact, I would say that almost everybody knows this. When you hire somebody, put them on the team, you know almost from day 1 or day 2 that this is going to be a superstar. And if you don't have that feeling from day 1 or day 2, it doesn't mean they won't work out, but they're probably not going to be a superstar. And usually after a month when somebody isn't going to work out, you know it, and why do you hang on to it? And I could go on for a long time about this, but again, the single biggest mistake that we've ever made, and one of the tests that I'll ask our leadership team here when they're struggling with people that aren't performing on in their direct reports list is, if it was your money, would you be paying them? And I've heard a number of times over the years, well, no. And then I respond, well, why are you wasting the company's money and, by the way, your bonus money and everybody else's bonus money around you? Because we share a big piece of our pre-tax net profit with all the employees every single month following results. And just answering that question or asking that question and getting the answers really helps drive this in the right direction.
Great insight. So that's really the 4th leg of the stool: the systems, the competition, customer centricity, and people. And it sounds like people kind of overrun everything else in terms of making sure that's a great fit.
Yeah, the right people will ensure all the other things happen. We actually categorize the employees around here by talent ranking. And we look at critical talent. It's the top 10% performers in their ability to get results. We look at top talent. That's the 70 to 90% performers. And then everybody else we rank as key players. They're solid middle performers. They're the heart and soul of every single organization. And we look across the board and we say the employees that have the best chance for advancement, they excel in 2 areas: improving customer experience and improving gross profit. And then the third element that goes in there is their ability to solve problems along the way. If you start up a new line of business, for example, this year we started 4 new business lines in our Able Engineering organization. And we put only critical talent and top talent in those new business areas because they fully understand improving customer experience and profitability, and they have the ability to solve and permanently fix all of the problems that come up along the way. Key players, for whatever reason at that point in time, they generally don't have a strong ability to solve those problems, but the critical talent does. So by categorizing all the employees in the organization, what's made us really successful in starting up any new business line is deploying the critical talent appropriately. You put critical talent in one area, after a year, it's a well-run, very solid performing part of the organization. That critical talent can move out and it continues to perform well and improve because of all the systems and people they put in place. In the past, one of the mistakes that we've made is that we didn't use critical talent this way. We would win a big piece of business, and it would come in, it would go to the part of the organization that just happened to take that part of the business coming in. And if we had a high population of key players, they're great employees, but they just can't seem to solve those problems. And so we failed a number of times. So again, a long way around saying that critical talent it's everything. People are everything.
How do you measure that? Certainly the metrics must be part of that. You talked about people, and sometimes we let emotion get in the way. Undoubtedly, measuring certain things are key to getting away from just an emotional connection to people.
Yeah, with every single employee in the organization, doesn't matter what they're doing, we're measuring their ability to improve customer experience and improve gross profit. Every single employee can impact that. In fact, every employee is connected through those two performance requirements as it relates to their position in the organization, all the way back up to our execution plan that was created right from our strategy. It's a real-time, living, breathing execution plan. And then that third element, when we're looking at talent, their ability to solve problems. Anytime something new comes up, can they solve the problem, or do they run into somebody's office and say, I don't know what to do, I've never seen this before? The critical talent, very top end, and can do that quickly. They do it with ease. It's like breathing. They enjoy the challenge. Top talent can do the same thing. It just takes them about twice as long to do it. And key players, again, for whatever reason, have just chosen not to develop that part of it. So we actually look at every employee that way. We tell them what it means to be a key player, a top talent, and a critical talent, and they can get additional money by moving up a talent ranking inside the organization. I think everybody has it in them to do it, but most organizations, they don't clearly describe what that means and point them in that direction and tie compensation to it. So that's a big difference here, and it's a huge success strategy for us, and we've taken and actually built this into our business management operating system, so we can see every single employee in the company, their talent ranking, we can look at their succession plan, and we can see how they're doing on improving customer experience and improving gross profit.
Undoubtedly, that's helped you with the international, which is more complex, more moving parts, but if you've got players within your team where you know who the better ones are by some quantitative amount or by quantitative measurement, you're going to be in a better position because you can apply those talented people to the more complex problems, which is very often the exporting in foreign markets.
Yeah, every employee in our organization, it's almost like they have a baseball card with all their stats on it. And every single employee can see the stats of every other team member on their particular team. They can collaborate, interact with each other so they can actually win. And I love the baseball analogy. You may not like your batting average, but you're not complaining that it's on the Jumbotron. The better you can see everybody's stats, better chance you have of winning the World Series. So that's what we've set up here. In most companies, they don't embrace that kind of transparency. They just put a little wall around every single employee, don't share anything, and for the life of me, I can't figure out why they'd want to do that, because it gives them a huge competitive disadvantage by operating that way.
Congratulations on winning the World Series, the Super Bowl, the World Cup, and all the things that you've been able to do in the business. Lee, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.